Sonia from House of Education and host of the Treasure Chest Book Clubs. And today we are going to be working on our new project, which is the Build a Book Tower. See how many books you read in an entire year. And so we're going to assemble this. I've already done my artwork. You can see that I have a picture of a macaw over on a clay lick. If you want to know what that's all about, you'll have to check out this book, The Wind Riders. Okay, it is the Search for the Scarlet Macaws. It's a really good book. I put my 2 cents there, we'll call it that. And I have there, I think the best thing about this book is learning about the macaws, because this book had lots of facts just sprinkled throughout. It was great. And I, of course, give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, scarlet stars to match. And that's it. Now, I printed this on color paper so that it'd be less coloring. However, I didn't think about that very carefully, because it did make making the white parts a little more challenging. And of course, even the blues coming off a little greeny. So just something to think about. If you do print in color on color paper, you might have to think twice about your picture design and what you use. I started off with markers, but I knew that I was going to need to change to crayon, because crayon will sit on top of the paper, not absorb into the paper. That's important. So my yellow is more vivid than my blue, because my blue was the marker and that went into it. If I had done the blue like I did these blue zigzags, those are more teal, then it would have stood out better. So lesson learned. Now, let's get to the cutting and then the folding and the gluing. So, of course, you're going to need something to cut with and something to glue with. I don't recommend this glue. They just didn't have anything else when I went to the store. They were literally out of all of the good glue. Now for the folding, you need these guys. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to move my camera down here so you can check out my desk. There we go. Now, let's get started. Now, a lot of teachers will say that you should do the one-piece cutting method. And that's where you cut all the way around it and make just one piece of paper. That's so the classroom isn't messy. I rather cut fast than to cut in one piece, because I can just slide it all off into my little trash basket. And I also like to cut these triangle areas separately, so that way I'm not going like this and then turning this way, because that stretches the paper and then it doesn't fold as smoothly and can leave gaps. And I don't want gaps, because I don't want to see in there. I want it to look like a book. So I will do a left-right or a right-left method like this. And that way it just falls away. But I also like to just go straight all the way across first, like that. And then come in, because it's so much faster to do this. And if you give it a little tug and it still doesn't come out, go back in with your scissors and give it a little snip right there. Oh, there it is. This one. And here. And of course, I have a turn here. So again, to keep my paper crisp and not bent, I just snip it. Now, I'm going to turn this around and go this way. That way, it just falls away. And then I can go back in and trim that triangle right here. See how this makes it so much faster? With one method just is slow. I want to get to the folding, so I don't want to go slow. right here, last one. Now you'll notice that in some spots I colored outside the lines, and that's because I knew those were areas I was going to cut. And since I'm going to cut them, I don't have to worry about being nice and neat. Now, it's time for the folding. We are going to start from this end and move to this end. Right there on the dotted line. That gives us our cover, and that is going to be the edge of our book. And we're going to go right here. Now, you can make this out of regular paper if you want, like printer paper, like the recycled stuff you can typically get, or you can do it out of cardstock, which will make it stronger and they'll stack better. And they'll last a little bit longer, especially if they like fall over or anything. Now, as you can see, we're already getting our shape here. So now we're going to come over here to these sides. And right here, cardstock does make folding a little more challenging because it's so stiff. And when you're folding little areas like this, you're going to want to hold on to it like that, so that way you can get your fold in the right spot. Cardstock is stiff paper, and it has its own mind, and it wants to do what it wants to do. So you have to use your fingers to guide it. So you use your finger and press over it. And then when you find that you've forced the paper to make it fold where you want it, then you can really press hard on that and get that fold in there. Little ones don't have that problem because your finger can cover almost the whole thing. It's these longer ones that tend to be a little more challenging. And the paper just wants to do what it wants to do. Now you can use fancy tools like bone folders and things like that, where you can press on the dotted lines and then fold after you press on it, because that gives you the crease. But I like just doing it with my hands. Maybe another tool I'd have to keep track of. I think we've got everything. Here we go. Yep, we do. Everything is folded and it's almost the right shape. We're just going to close it up. So to close it up, we are going to start with bringing it over. Okay, so we're going to start with connecting these tabs to the binding side. So that's going to be right here. We're going to bring them together right there, and then we will do this area. But what I'm going to do so that I can make sure that I get these two connected really well is I'm going to fold this the opposite direction so that I can get my fingers to hold it, especially since I have really bad glue. This glue is not really very sticky. Stringy, yes. Sticky, no. So making sure I'm putting a lot of glue there, and I'm doing both sides. So whoop, one will work on setting up while I'm working on the other side. And when I say setting up, I mean that it's getting a little dry, but not dried out, but it's getting tacky. And because this glue is not so great, I'm going to hold on to it. But I need to get this in the right spot and get my fingers to stop sticking to it. Now, while I'm holding this other side and I'm making sure that that is straight, I'm going to start working on this side. There we go. Now this side feels pretty good, so I'm going to come over here and make sure I have that where I want it. And then I'm going to move my fingers here and press on this one. And I'm going to count to 20. 1, 2, 3, not super fast. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, of course, you could do the 1 alligator, 2 alligator, 3 alligator, 4, and that would make it less fast. But you definitely don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because that's not going to help the glue. The glue does not have speed, but your voice does. Now, that feels pretty good. So, I think we are ready to close this up. And I'm going to stand these up. I call this fluffing so that they're up. And I'm going to put my glue here instead of here so that I'm not fidgeting with this because it's still drying. It's not dry yet. It's just stable. And don't forget, you want to like turn your glue so you don't get a point on one side and not on the other side. You want it even as possible because it makes putting the lid on easier, and having a flat surface is much better to work with. Now I am going to take and fold this one back just like we did before, and now I'm going to bring this together, and I'm going to work again one side at a time. Pinch this down. My fingers on the inside. Of course, you can't see it. You see. And watch that glue. Now I'm going to take my pencil because my pencil is skinnier than my finger. And I'm pressing on the inside against my fingers that are right here. So I'm just doing like this, but on the inside. Make sure that it's all connected. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Stick that in there. But I'm going to turn this around so I can get my fingers over here because I want to stabilize as much of that area as I can. So do that, and I'm going to just rub. And we're almost done. See, this is a pretty quick craft. Now, that is pretty good. So, when we do this last section, we want these tabs to be up a little bit so that when we close this up, this will push them down. When it pushes them down, it's making connection, and we want it to connect. We're also going to use the table as part of our tool. So once we connect, we're going to rub it a little bit here and then with our hand. So that way we make sure that it's all connected. Okay, so we're going to put it here. We're going to rub, and then we're going to lift it, but it'll be stuck. And then we're going to rub again with our hand. So first we got to get the glue on there, and we got to make sure that these are fluffed. Not too fluffy. Now, these edges, because of fluffing, that gets in the way of the glue stick. Now, you can use tacky glue on this too, like the Balene's tacky glue. That would be really good. I like to use that with a toothpick to spread out my glue so it's not super thick and wet. So we're going to turn it and press it. We're going to move it around a little bit, lift it up, make sure we like it. Then wiggle it around a little bit more. And what I was saying about liking it is we're checking to see if we got our edges matched up. And then around that. Now this one, I'm pinching gently. So I'm just going like this, just pinching so that, again, it's making a connection. And again, we have to do the counting. The 1 alligator, 2 alligators. Is it crocodile maybe? 3 crocodiles, 4 crocodiles. I don't remember. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There we go. Now, this one's a little loose on the bottom, but the top one is connected and the side is fully connected. So I have book 2. Now I can stack book 1 and book 2 and make my tower. Hopefully you had fun making your book tower books. And again, don't forget to tag me in your pictures because I'd love to see your books and I'd love to know what you're reading so I can add it to my list because I love exploring new books and finding great treasures.